And guys, that's going to wrap up our segment of Media Mania. So we're going to go ahead and dive right in to the meat and potatoes of the podcast, talking about the hit buddy comedy One of Them Days. And
One
I
of the
know I know a lot of you guys have, probably seen the trailers for the show, for the movie, or maybe you've seen some of the, promo videos that Keke, Issa, and SZA have been doing together. So we're just gonna give you a little bit of a rundown. Essentially, the movie is about two best friends, and they live together in South Los Angeles. And the story begins when they find out that Alyssa, who's played by SZA, gave her rent money to her bum boyfriend. And
Mm-mm.
now Alyssa and Drew, who's played by Keke Palmer, have to figure out a way to get that rent money back so they are not homeless by the end of the night.
The drama
Yep.
of this movie, I was able to see it. They did, I think it was like Dr. King weekend, maybe the weekend before or that Thursday before, they did a special screening across the country. And I was able to go see it early, sold out. So I love that part. But then it was just, first off, it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Laughing from the start of the movie to the end of the movie. The music was amazing.
Yes.
The acting, I was like, SZA girl, do you really act like this in real life? Like,
She probably does. She probably does.
felt like she was not playing a role. It felt like they just wrote some stuff and they were like, SZA would say something like this.
Yeah.
Go on out there and do your thing, girl. The acting was amazing, but the drama of that movie of just the boyfriend and SZA's character
gosh.
was just so head gone. Her
Yeah.
head was so gone.
Head empty.
It's like, girl,
Please. Please leave him alone.
the landlord, like the drama of that movie, like, and you can watch it from different aspects. Like, you can really just be like, I'm gonna watch it as a comedy and be like, okay. Then you can watch it as a drama and be like, oh.
I think the one thing I love the most about the movie, of course, is SZA and Keke Palmer's, chemistry together, because Keke is hilarious. She's been hilarious since Akilah the Bee,
Yes.
True Jackson. I feel like all black women have been following her career since like the very start. So to see her in One of Them Days is so amazing because first of all, it's written by a black woman, directed by, I don't know if Issa Rae is the director, but
I think Issa is the producer, but there is a man who is the director of the
Right.
film.
Yeah, so it's directed by Lawrence Lamont, written by Sarita Singleton, and Issa is the producer of the film, right? And it's also produced through Macro Studios, which I know is like a black owned or like black focus studio. So I was really happy to see that. And to see Keke Palmer and SZA together was a lot of fun because Keke has her own like her personality,
Yes.
her charm, the fact that she is
Really screen.
yes, and also SZA. I know that SZA is like very funny because I've watched her Instagram lives like during the pandemic. So I always thought she was a very like interesting person. But to see her and Kiki together was like, now this is a pair.
I don't know who made that pairing, or I know they showed a video of like their chemistry read and stuff like that. I don't know who made that final stamp, but I just felt like that was my first time really seeing SZA on the screen. I don't know if she's done any film or TV before. So that was my first introduction to seeing her really acting. And I was like, girl, it's like, it just felt so natural. It didn't feel like she was reading. It didn't feel like, she had to do a lot of training for it because it's a fun film. So like, I really don't want to feel like you have to do a lot of training for it. But also it just felt like so natural. It felt like SZA was in her 20s, figuring out life, a free spirit, just really... It felt like a reality show. It felt like just the camera following her. Like, I love the fact that it didn't feel like she was acting. It didn't feel forced because a lot of times you'll get musicians that'll go into acting and it feels forced. It feels like you had some bills to pay, huh? Like you really had to pay some bills today, huh?
Yeah.
But it just felt like, oh girl, you've been doing this. Like you and Keke are real friends. Y'all have been friends for years. Like that's what it felt like. It felt like two friends on a screen going through some shit.
Yes. That does remind me of, oh my gosh, what's that movie with Harry Styles and Florence Pugh?
Harry Styles was in a movie?
Harry Styles was in a movie, girl. Yes.
Harry Styles can act?
He was in 2 movies. The Policeman, and then, I forget the second movie, but it was directed by Olivia Wilde. And there was some drama on set.
I feel like I've heard of this.
No, I remember seeing the movie. That's a crazy thing. And I can't remember the title of the movie, but Harry Styles was in the movie with Florence Pugh. And it was a movie about, like, these, like, back in the 50s where like I think the women would go to work. No, the men would go to work. The women stay home, and it was like sci-fi, directed by Olivia Wilde, and like the wife who was played with Florence Pugh, she was having some kind of breakdown, and
Okay.
everyone's looking at her like she was crazy. And there was one scene where it's Florence Pugh and Harry Styles, and Florence Pugh, by the way, like she did Midsummer. She's been
Hmm.
acting for a long time, you know.
Right.
So when you watch two actors act in a scene together, it's very clear when they do not have the same level of talent. So when Florence Pugh is giving her all, and she's like emoting, she is like, breaking down, she's trying to get him to relate to her, and he's just like, babe, why are you so sad? And it's like, oh, this accent is not working for you, sir. Maybe you should just
Oh,
stay
yeah,
British.
that accent. Oh my God.
Yeah,
I didn't get that from SZA. It really felt like, and if she had any formal training, I couldn't tell. Like,
yeah,
this just felt so natural. It felt like whoever wrote this script was like, SZA's getting this role. Even before she auditions, this is for SZA. And I loved every moment about that. Keke is like, we expect, so much from Keke already. We know she's going to deliver every time. We know she's going to, how she even just says her lines. We know Keke's going to give it to us.
yeah.
So it was kind of like, not that I was pushing her off to the side, but I was like, girl, I already know what I'm getting from you. But I was just so shocked by SZA because I was just like, you're giving so natural. Like, this is for you. I hope you continue this path.
Yeah. And I love that because it shows you the team that's behind the film. Like when you're writing a movie, I'm pretty sure writers have like actors in mind that they want to like take on that role. And I feel like that role really was written for Keke, but I feel like the role that SZA like embodied, it probably wasn't written for her, but the fact that she took it and made it her own, I feel like that's very beautiful. And I also, because I'm such a huge SZA fan, watching the movie and then watching her character, I was like, SZA, you relate too much to this.
I was like, girl, like, this is you. When the movie started and she was late, she was like, girl, I'm so sorry I'm late. I was like, SZA, girl,
You're lying.
this is giving you on a regular day. Like, this is giving like your friends know you're late and they have to lie to you. Like,
Yeah.
everything just gave effortless. I was just like, oh my God, this is so for you. I hope they make a part 2 and she can just be her. Like, I hope it's not like Friday where they make a part 2 and the main character is not. I would hate that. Like, keep her in the film.
Yes. I also am glad that this movie is a lot like Friday because
Yeah.
I have missed films when you're watching it and you feel like you are stepping into someone's life. Like, not a movie where like it feels like a movie, the language is very stunted, the acting is like a little too overdone, and some of the stunts are not, they don't make sense, but like there are a couple stunts in the movie that like level up the comedic appeal, but it's not too much to where it takes you out of the film. It still kind of like fits into the realm of like reality, and the movie feels like you're experiencing something with Drew, and with Alyssa, and that's because of the writing, the production, the actors, and everything that culminates into the movie. It just feels like such a cohesive piece, and
Yeah.
yeah, I loved it so much.
It also like drove a lot of emotions out of me because I was like happy for Drew. I was rooting for Drew, but then I was angry at SZA's character. I was like, girl, when she lost that money the second time, I was like, girl, what are we doing at Drew's job interview? Like, this is an interview and you're calling her name. Like, act like that's not your friend. Like, I had so many emotions coming out of myself just watching the film that I was just like, okay, they know what they're doing. Like, is this how our parents felt when they saw Friday for the first time? Where did they have these emotions seeing Craig and Day Day get through their day? Like,
Yeah.
is this how they felt?
Yeah. I love it because more films about friendships, but friendships that are like, they're messy, but you can tell there's still love there.
Yes.
That's what I appreciate.
I can tell there was still love there no matter what. And I had to watch it a second time. I watched it on Prime when I was getting ready for this because the first time I was too mad at SZA's character. I was like, great. The rent money, lost the rent money the second time. You could have had to argue, like, why are you around this man living in y'all house and he got y'all house looking crazy? Like, I was so mad at SZA's character. But then I watched it the second time and I was like, okay, she really speaks life into Keke Palmer's character. She's like, girl, don't say you think you got this. Say you know you got this. Like, she was a friend through and through. And it's like Keke saw what her faults were as a friend. She was like, I know you are stigmatized. I know if a man come in here, you will lose your mind. Like, she knew her friend and she loved her regardless. So I definitely had to rewatch it to love SZA's character a little bit more because I was like, girl, 2 times in one day you lost the rent money.
Can't be. I'm not gonna lie. With SZA's character, I feel like SZA's character is someone that I know. Like, I know a few people who are like that, where like
Yes.
they speak life into you. They're very encouraging. They're very kind. But when you look at their life, it's like, what are we doing here?
Yes.
What's going on? Why do we have things
You want
together?
to ask, but you know what answer you're gonna get. Like you're gonna get
Yeah.
a free spirited answer. You're gonna get like how SZA said she was like the ancestors got me. Like the earth is gonna guide me. And I was like,
Girl,
girl,
they can only do too much, girl. You gotta put some work into it.
they yelling at you to get out that bed, girl. They yelling at you to go do
The
something.
ancestors had to fight for their freedom. You
The
can't
ancestors
even.
gave you that talent to paint, and you not using it. Like,
You're
what are we
not.
doing right
You're
now?
not. You
And
gotta.
so, like, yeah, like we all know somebody. And I again, applause to the writing team because we are all able to relate that we're either Drew, we're very serious, we're very work oriented, we're very focused on what's next and wanting to build our life, or we're SZA and we're like, God's got me, the earth's got me.
Yeah.
Oh, here go this cute boy over here though. Like the writing was done so well that you were able to relate to someone's character.